Hey guys, welcome back to Billions. You've got the Beggins brother. I'm Jeff Beggins.
I'm Craig Beggins.
And we are here to impart some wisdom, man. I mean, remember the whole focus of this is we've grown a long time and 31 years in the business now, C21 Beggins here in Florida. And we've hit over $1 billion in sales for the last couple of years. So we just decided from a give back perspective to kind of drop the nuggets that's kind of helped us to help those of you in the business, those of you who are thinking about growing your business, growing a team, starting a brokerage, doing something you're with our company or not with our company, doesn't matter because rising tide raises all boats. So we are going to hit on some cool topics today because, Craig, you and I talk a lot. This market is now back to a market.
We're back to a normal market. Actually, it's an abnormal market because inventory is so tight. So in a normal market, it's balanced. We've got like 6 months worth of supply, but we're still in a less than 2 month worth of supply market. I mean, my daughter got a listing the other day. She had 4 offers, 4 showings the first night it got listed. She got a full price offer. She had 10 showings the next day, and it went to $42,000 over asking price. That's not normal. I mean, that's like pre-COVID normal, and then it got to normal, and now we're back to it again. But interest rates are 6.5% and 7%. So basically, none of that matters. We're back to supply, the basics. I mean, here's the thought that came in my head when you just said your opening statement. And it comes to my mind all the time. Old age and treachery outdoes youth and skill, right? The past just repeats itself. There's really nothing new in the real estate market, right? It's supply and demand. And we've got very low demand, and very low supply, and we got very high demand, especially in our micro markets of Tampa Bay, where we are. But we were with the COO of Central last week. Nashville is hot. Austin's hot. Dallas is hot. Houston's hot. Phoenix is hot. There's a lot of places that are hot. And so those are micro markets that are doing different things. You might be in, I don't know, New Jersey. That's not that hot because the snow is still melting. But in the normal where we are, things just are moving crazy.
Things are moving crazy in certain micro markets. So I'm over on the Gulf Coast here in Florida and Madeira Beach specifically. And I was doing a sales meeting with our agents over here today, and we're talking about the differences. So I've got one of the agents, Chris, he just got one of his listings, multiple offers, right? I just put an investment property under contract. There was multiple offers, appraisal gaps, right? As is, waiving all things and all contingencies to get it, right? But at the same time, we've got 3 major price reductions on different properties. I'm coaching with another agent right afterwards. It's been on the market 60 something days on another property, another one for 40 something days, one approaching 90, and another one with multiple offers. So the difference is the micro market segment of all of these is it's different. There's more demand at a certain price point, and there's more demand on certain streets. There's more demands on certain exposures, and it's just different. If this was 9 months ago, we would not be having the price reduction conversations mixed in with the appraisal gap, right, conversation. So you're starting to see a writing into a normal market, which is a balanced buyers and sellers. We're not balanced buyers or sellers yet. Definitely still a seller's market, but the price points that people are wanting may not be matching the willingness of buyers to spend, right? In certain markets.
And I want to make it clear that it's the brokerage and the agent's effort makes a difference. We just got one. We're about to get a second project. That these are multiple unit new home constructions that have been on the market with another company for 6 months and have not had one sale. Not one. I guarantee you, I know the listing we just got, we're going to publicly market it the right way, and it's going to get a lot of activity. And the second one, I'm pretty sure we're going to get 2, and it's going to happen. So it's not when we say it's crazy, the market's crazy, that insinuates that it's easy to the public, and it's not. So I want you to, as agents, I want you to replace crazy with complex, competitive, and complicated, because it is. Now, both of these brokerages that we're taking over these listings for had 1 photo on the MLS. How the take the F word out. How do you possibly consider putting one photo on the MLS as a effective marketing strategy? You just can't. Right?
A year ago, you could have got away with that.
Yeah, probably. Yes. But should you have?
No.
Right? You got to put your best foot forward every single time because it's your reputation. Every seller that you represent, another seller is looking at you and how you represent them. Oh, that's the way I want to be represented. So if you do a shitty job with seller number one, then seller number two is going to say, I don't want to deal with you.
Right.
But
you're interviewing for the next deal.
Yeah. So that's it. And today, I'm sorry, I said this at sales meeting yesterday. The name of the game right now is 100% get listings. Get listings, listings, get listings. So what are your strengths? Who are you selling? If you're selling Jeff Beggins, list with me, pound my chest. That's good if you're really good. But if you're Jeff Beggins and you're Jeff Beggins with Century 21 Beggins and you're Jeff Beggins with Century 21 Beggins and Century 21, that's better. And you're Jeff Beggins with Century 21 Beggins and Century 21 and anywhere real estate. Holy shit. If you're not playing those cards, you're failing on the presentation because the resources are available.
I did the same thing at the Gulf Beach meetings yesterday. We went through the bulletproof listing process, right? Same thing is going through. We forgot how to ensure you get the business, right? We were talking about somebody didn't get the listing. So that was a listing appointment they went on. So I went through the process of what was potentially missed because there's never failure, it's feedback, right? So it's only failure if you didn't figure out where you screwed up. So I wanted to call out where the screw up was so it doesn't happen again. So history doesn't repeat itself. So we went through, how did the lead come in? Where did the lead come from? What did you do with the lead? Then did you set the appointment? The first step we teach is we're going to go in the preview. And then we go on the preview. Actually, we have the script of what to actually say on the preview, what questions to ask the seller on the preview. All the appliances, how did you like this house? Why did you pick this house? All the same things that we have. If you guys want it, we'll shoot us a message on here on YouTube in the comments. We can email it to you, right? Then we go through the whole thing about the 11 questions we leave behind. In case you lost another agent, did you go through this? Then did you go back and did you do the pre-qualification? Did you send them the Moxie link with your presentation? Did you send them the video? Was your bio in there, right? All the questions that go back through. And then you did the pre-qualification phone call. Did you send them the dot loop with the actual contract in there with everything filled out except the price, right? Did you actually go through the whole process? Did you show up and do the actual listing presentation? Let me see how your spa looked when you presented the strategic pricing analysis. And then how did you close, right? And then the questions were, the answers were not what I wanted to hear. It was, I skipped that, right? Guys, we can't skip that anymore.
I showed up as me.
Yeah, because they called me because they wanted me to list their home. No, you didn't get the listing because they didn't have confidence. They didn't feel that you were the best person to handle the largest financial transaction in their life. When you follow the process the right way, there's no objections, right? They can't argue about the price because pricing is a totally different conversation than whether or not you want to hire us, right? So we go through the process of do you feel we could sell your home? Good, sign the contract. Now let's talk about pricing. Like, it's a whole different conversation. So it's just good to get back to the basics on what we're actually doing here, because our job from a brokerage, and if you were watching as a team leader, as a broker yourself, or an agent that's looking to grow, our job is really simple. You see the logo in the back, B3, right? It's empower, educate, encourage. Those are the three things that we do as a company. We do that to empower, educate, and encourage them to be inspired to create and design and envision a lifestyle that puts a big ass smile on your face. Because guys, we're only here for a short period of time. Let's have some cool experiences. Let's do some good stuff for people, and let's contribute, and let's have everything that we want in our life. And it's not hard to do. It's just we have to get the step-by-step focus on that one, right? So what we want to do today is go a little bit back to basics and hit some fundamentals with you, because it's time and it's going to work. So two groups of people in the world. I'm going to oversimplify it for a second.
Let's go back to that just before we said, because it's back to the basics. We're back to normal people real estate now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not sad, but it's different that so many, and I don't mean this as a discount, but so many agents joined the business in the last 3 or 4 years they've never seen a normal real estate market.
That's right.
They've never seen interest rates higher than 5%. They've never seen a seller, a buyer's market. They've never seen anything. So we're back to normal real estate. So we got to teach normal real estate, which we've been through for 31 years now. What is normal? And we're almost back to normal. We're still in an abnormal market, but the normal practices are going to precede success in today's market. So that's our job right now, is to get back to normal
and reintroduce sales into the real estate industry, right? Because a lot of times it's not been there. So one going back through the process I did yesterday with the agents, said, let me ask you about your client. Were they D personalities, I personalities, S personalities, C personalities? How did you know? What were the clues? And it was kind of a blank response. And were they visual, auditory, or kinesthetic when you're talking with them? What's their modality? What were they in when you were actually presenting to them? How did you know? What were the clues? And the answers were, I don't pay attention, right? Which is okay, but I want that feedback to work for you guys, to realize that had this been done properly, we would be having $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 hit our checking account next month, right? Because it would have been a listing that would have been priced right and ready to go. So
Yeah.
the day
You just jumped 8 steps ahead of what most people are thinking about. I mean, you and I talk about this all the time, but reintroducing sales into the real estate business means that you become trained as a salesperson. If you think of a salesperson, think of IBM. What does an IBM salesperson go through? A series of training, right? And a lot of that training is what you just talked about, which we skipped over.
Yes.
Right. Understanding the behaviors of your consumer. And then you, as the salesperson, have to adapt your personality to make your consumer feel comfortable working with you. So when you go back to, the sleazy car salesman, hey baby, you look good in that car. That's not a sales approach, right? The sales approach is, hey, why are you looking at a car? I'm looking at a car for my daughter. And what do you want for a car for your daughter? I want a safe, whatever, do. So you're probably not going to put them in a Corvette, right? But you had the intelligence, the IQ, the EQ, to ask the question so you could provide a solution that meets that customer's need. And that's what sales is really about. And so when you get to the sleazy car salesman versus the consultant, like we're training, it's a different thing. So you just went way above to DIS.
Let's go back to your car example real quick. So the car salesperson that hey, what are you looking for? You can't start with what are you looking for, because you just made a massive assumption that they're in a visual modality when they walked onto that lot, right? So we can't say that. So you can say, what brought you onto the lot today, right? How can I help you?
And they say, well, I'm feeling like this. And then you use kinesthetic words.
That's right. You got to go into neutral and just.
I heard these new EVs are really cool. Then you're going to talk about auditory words.
That's right. So let's go through that since you just brought it up real quick.
And that's it. So a trained salesperson is going to say VAK, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. They're going to use those words to get back to build rapport with the consumer. So they build trust, right? Which is what
listen to. That's right. So they feel listened to. So the visual person says, hey, I want to look at that car. Can you show me this? Sure. You want to take a look? Let me show you. Let's go. And then auditory. Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about this one? I was talking to a friend of mine and he told me that this might be something I need to come learn about. Or, I'm just here to I want to feel this car. I'm just going to I'm just kind of trying to get immersed into I just want to understand more about the car. I get some questions, right? So all three of those requires a totally different presentation to present the same facts about the car. Car is the car, right? It's a commodity. It's a bunch of bolts and screws and metal and computer chips, right? But it's presented differently to the visual person, auditory, kinesthetic, Same with a house, it's blocks and bricks and appliances, right? On dirt. It just depends on where the dirt is and how you present it across the way. So
Right.
yes, good calling that out. And we have a lot of resources on this one. They're free. Go check out more of our videos down in our B3 YouTube channel here, whether you're watching this Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are. But B3 Real Estate, YouTube's got a ton of this stuff. And you want to dig more on anything specifically, let us know. So yes, reintroducing sales.
Sales is sales, and that's where we build our value, because so often, and I'm dealing with a guy right now who's really, really challenging for me. He doesn't see the value in what we do. And he doesn't want to pay the cooperating broker enough money. He doesn't want to pay us enough money. He wants a discounted commission. He's already tried another broker who did the discounted commission route, and he sold nothing in 6 months. How do you sell nothing in 6 months in this market?
Right.
It's really, really hard to do that. Well, number one, there's no signage. Number two, there's one photo. Number three, there's no attachments on the MLS. There's no floor plans. There's no anything to make it happen. So somebody just said, shit, I'll take the deal. Give me a 1% commission and I'll go do it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Listen.
I'm going to list it. Well, what does listing it mean? No, listing it means that you go through a process that markets the property effectively. And then the seller has the ultimate decision to say, based on the information you gave me, I choose this price. And then we're going to do what? The word starts with E. We're going to experiment this price. And if it doesn't work, we're going to adjust. And we never had to do this before, because the last 3 years, if you just got licensed, you didn't have to experiment. You just put the freaking thing on the market and it's sold.
That's right.
Now you need to experiment. And the seller says, well, I think my house is worth $950. Well, the last house in your house sold for $850. So why do you think yours is worth $950? Because it's whatever. Okay. Well,
let's go through the market and let's see what we're competing with.
Let's experiment. Let's try $950 for a week.
But that's when sales comes in and you go back to your process, because that's an objection, right? Handler. And then you go right back to your strategic pricing analysis processes that we're teaching. And it says we'll list however you want, right? This you list over here, it's a slow sale, right? I don't know when we're going to sell. You list over here, it's going to be a fast sale, and you list in the middle our recommended price range. It'll sell the average days on the market, which is 45.50, whatever it is right now. So now that you've seen these prices, Mr. Beggins, where do you want to list? I would list for 950, all the way over here where I have no idea when you're going to sell. No problem. Let's get started. But don't be calling me when how many showings next Friday, right? I'm happy to experiment with you. But these are the conversations. We could fight, we could scream, we can kick, we can call him stupid, or we can let it play out because he knows that he's out of mind, right? That is not going to sell it, that one. He wants to try it. I don't know. Do you want to take that or not? That's your business to be able to figure that out. But
you coined the phrase zero resistance, whatever. Okay. You want 950? I'll try 950.
Whatever you want.
I told you 870 is your number, but we can try 950.
So let's go real quickly into how do you find the guy to get a listing, right? Because I think it's important in this market, because a lot of us, we didn't have to work too hard during the crazy times, pandemic, because there was business flying everywhere. Everybody was buying when it's 2 and 3% interest rates. People were selling because they were getting stupid money. But now we got to go back to finding business. We have to go prospect. We have to do lead generation every day, or we're going to go out of business, right? So we lumped it into two buckets. They're simple buckets. So we're first, there's two types of people in the world: people that you know, people that you don't know. Simple. Let's go to the people that you know section real quick. So I wrote down a couple of notes over here, and this was one of the breakouts I just did at the C21 Carolina conference out there. And the topic of that breakout was how to earn $100,000 in Q2, right? And that's really what it boiled down to. We had 14 weeks in the quarter, and we're in a summary was we need to go on one good qualified appointment a week. That's it. But how do we prospect? Who do we prospect? Who do we talk to find somebody who's thinking about selling to the point where I can get into their living room or into their Zoom camera, into their living room if they don't live locally, and present, right? That's it. That's the name of this game, guys, is we got to hunt and find somebody who's thinking about selling their house. So people that you know. So the notes I wrote down,
Let me just add to that. So for the managers watching, when you're interviewing an agent, right? Their value to you, everybody wants a real estate license, right? Because it's easy money. You're gonna make $100,000 a year and it's easy. Most people don't make $100,000 and it's not easy. So when you hire a new agent, their value to you is their sphere of influence, right? Who do they know? The easiest business you can get is from the people that you know, right? And if you're fortunate enough to have a huge sphere of influence, then all you have to do is work the people that you know. That's great. But when I hire Jimmy from Nebraska and he just moved here and his cell phone has 45 contacts in it, there's not a lot of people that he knows, because 10% of the people you know are going to do business. He's going to do 4 deals a year. So he's going to have to talk to people he doesn't know.
Yep.
Right. So it's an interview question when you're hiring an agent. How many people do you know? And can we give you enough content, which we can, to talk to those people? My God, look what we're doing tonight, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, we are going to fill a bunch of people with people that we know, and we're going to educate them on buying investment properties. Right. But when you're dealing, if you don't have a bunch of people that you know, you have to deal with people you don't know. And that's a whole different attitude. So when you're interviewing somebody, you got to figure that out, because it's a totally different thing. It's easy to go to Facebook and post when you've got 4,000 followers. But when you don't, you've got to do something different. So we have to distinguish between those two.
right. So let's go to people that you know first, right? Because everyone knows somebody, whether you just moved here or not. You don't know many, but you know some. A lot of you do know people, right? So this is what it's about. In marketing, in all sales, it's unaided brand awareness, right? This is what you've got to become top of mind awareness. This is all we're searching for. You've got people you went to high school with, you got people that were in your kids' PTA, you got neighbors, you got stuff that they know you, they may know of you, they may even know that you're in real estate, but you're not firmly entrenched into their brain. So you are not going to win the unaided brand recall game when somebody says, quick, who do you think about is in real estate? You're probably not going to come up in mind, right? Because they don't care about real estate because they're living their life. So what we have to do is really hijack their brains, right? There's a section in their brain and there's a filing cabinet, right? And the filing cabinet is sorted by jobs and professions. So you may know of an accountant, right? If somebody says, hey, who's doing your taxes? I'm going to say Lucas and Mike, right? I know a lot of accountants, but there's only room for one in this filing cabinet because I don't have a lot of room, right? So, and then, hey, Craig moves over here and says, hey, I want to get my hair cut. Unlikely scenario, I know. But let's say he did that. There's one girl, Dolce, who cuts my hair, and she owns that. I know a bunch of other hairstylists, but she is the #1 top unaided brand awareness winner, and she lives in my accountant, in that section, right? Mom comes over to town, she's going to move over here, and she needs a hairstylist. I would feel very comfortable referring her to that because I trust her. She's good. I've known her for a long time, and she does a good job. That's it, right? So, and that's the same thing that people need to think about you when real estate comes up. Now, it's not when they're buying real estate, and a lot of people screw that up. It's when somebody in their universe, right, is doing real estate. So they're at their kid's baseball game this weekend and someone's getting divorced or a job transfer. They're like, shit, we're so bummed. We got to move. We're moving up to Asheville. We've got to put our house on the market. Boom. Right. Did that trigger your face? And if it didn't trigger your face, you're going to be broke. But how do you get it so they think about your face when real estate happens in their world? Right. That's what we need to do. And that's what we're talking about, people that you know. So it's about, I wrote down, building unbreakable connections with your tribe. Okay.
Well,
So
I want to add to that because I think what you just said is very important. Whether you have a sphere of influence or you don't have a sphere of influence, if you don't work your sphere of influence, it's a shame, right? So there's a process of working your sphere of influence. Jeff, our mom, was one of the top agents this month, right? Yeah. And what she did was she texted a bunch of her past clients in December. And in December, she found some people that were interested in doing something, and she processed the events, and she ended up getting a listing. and that listing ended up getting sold, and then that seller had to buy another house. So it ended up being a multi-million-dollar transaction, all from an action back in December.
Yep.
Right. But she reached out to people that she knew who she was top of awareness was. So what we did is we inspired her to become top of mind to those people.
That's right.
So just because you have a sphere of influence doesn't mean you're going to get business. You have to work it. And so at our company, we have this thing called Moxie Works, which is a badass program, but you got to learn it. And over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 months, we've been teaching people how to use it. And I am personally getting, I'm getting a whole bunch of messages because they all want to show me they're doing it, which is good. But they're using tools to stay top of mind with the people they're already doing business with, right?
That's
So
exactly right.
you can't just have the relationship and not work it. So you're working no matter what you're doing. So if you're blessed enough to have a past client database and a big sphere of influence, you need to work it. And Kevin Frill comes to mind. He does an amazing job working his database because I'm copied on his database, and he tells these stories and they're fantastic. But if you're not blessed enough to have a past client database, then what? That's step 2.
Step 2. Well, let's talk about the database that you do have. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, right? You're probably on LinkedIn, you're probably on TikTok. You've got followers, you got a base, right? I don't know how big your base is, but you've got a base. The question is, if you open up your Facebook, for example, or Instagram, and you go through and you scroll through the feeds on what's going on, stop scrolling through the feeds. These people are friends of yours. They're in your network, they're in your tribe, they're in your sphere. So, for example, Terry Kelly posted something today. Why did he post something today? Let's go through the simple version of it. Why?
I have no idea.
Right? But he thought there was something relevant that connected with him that he wanted to share to the world. Simple, right? Simple. You know how easy it is for me just to go, boom, hit the like button, comment, so true. Awesome. Now, what did I just give him? Validation, top of mind awareness, and I entered his world, and it cost me nothing. It took me a 1/10 of a second. And I could do this until I fell asleep and passed out tonight, right? Like, comment. It's what they want. People post a picture of themselves in their mirror going, why? Because they want you to say, you look cute, right? Tell them they look cute. Like the freaking photo. Be part of their tribe. That's what they wanted. They give it what they want. Doesn't cost you anything. It's simple, and you become top of mind. And you're tricking the algorithm. So now you look like you're more connected to the algorithm. So then when you post something, which we'll talk about later, they're going to see it. Now you're part of their world a little bit more. So you're more likely or less likely to get engagement when they're at their kids' baseball game this weekend. All because you like their post on Tuesday. And you said, that's cool, right? Take the low-hanging fruit too, guys. It's just getting involved in people on that one. It just be it feed creeper, get in front of them and like their stuff. That's what they want. It costs you nothing.
Did you say a feed creeper?
A feed creeper. That's what you're in their feed. You're creeping on their feed. You're liking all their stuff. You're becoming top of mind, right? So what you're doing is you're attracting or repelling your whole world on them. But it's consistency. You're looking for the unaided recall.
No,
and
I think the point is it's work on either way. So if you have a close knit sphere of influence, you need to work it. If you don't have a close knit sphere of influence, you need to work that, which is next.
Well, you have a sphere, but you have no influence over your sphere until you.
Yeah, how many people have that Terry Kelly comment come across and don't enact with it, engage with it?
Thousands.
Most.
Yes.
So if you're going to work your sphere of influence, then work your sphere of influence. Right?
Here's a little hack too. So I just liked his stuff, whatever it is. I'll do that in the morning, right? It's take 5-10 minutes, whatever. Throughout the course, they have a traffic light and just do that. No big deal. You're engaging and you're connecting. That's what it is at that level.
You're not texting on your phone while you're driving.
I said at a red light, and it's recorded. You can go back and replay it if you want to clear it up. So, but here's the simple things. So one of the things we we're talking about at sales meeting yesterday, every one of us has the best marketing tool in the whole planet right here, right? It's our phones. So what we were doing yesterday, we got a game plan saying we have listings. If you don't have listings, your company does. If your company doesn't, your market does, and you have the MLS. So how do you look like you're busy even while you're working to become busy? Go show houses, go look at houses. So we're saying, do you have a lockbox key? I hope you do, you're in the business. Are there vacant lockbox homes for sale that you have access to? Could you just go to a vacant lockbox house with your phone and go live on Facebook or Instagram and say, oh my gosh, you got to see this 4.3. It's only 1.3 million bucks. It's absolutely gorgeous. I would love to see one of you as your neighbors. Tag a friend, anything to see this. Talk to you later. Bye. Then go to another vacant lockbox house, do a video walkthrough, go live with that one. And then what do your friends see when they're scrolling through later on tonight? You at 4 freaking houses showing your listings, which they're probably not, but nobody cares. No one's listening to you. Most people are viewing content without any sound anyway, but it looks like, oh my gosh, they are at $1 million house. They're at a $500,000. They're at a new construction project. They're at a new home community. Cost you what, 2 hours? Was free. And now everyone sees how active you are in the business and they assume that these are all your listings. They take easy. And then if you've been engaging with people, they're going to start seeing that content. You're become even more top of mind awareness. So when they're at the PTA meeting next Thursday, you become top of mind. Does this make sense? These are just little tips and tricks just to leverage people that you do know and make them thinking about you. Because I can't control that. That's just branding in essence. And please think about me when real estate happens in your world. I can't eat off of that. You can't pay your mortgage off of that. That is not a good strategy. That is good branding and that will pay you. But what the topic I was talking about was how do you get business for sure, right? And the only thing you can do for sure is go a little bit more aggressive on the business and asking. Now you can reach out to your sphere and you can say, who do you know? You know, people I don't know, need your help. The smart market's really tight. Who that's thinking about selling? DM everybody you know, text message everybody you know. That's what you need to be doing from an aggressive standpoint to actually go hunt and kill, right? And bring business in if you're committed to getting into business. So that's what the people that you do know. Simple. There's no magic bullet. It's always talking to people. It's always engaging and it's always bringing them in. So flip the page, people that you don't know. And this is the fun part. I love this part. So,
Well, I think this needs to be balanced too.
mhm.
Even the people you do know, depending on how big that network is, they're only going to provide so many transactions.
Yes.
Right. And the rule of thumb is 10%. So if you have 100 people in your sphere, you're going to get 10 transactions.
If you talk to them quarterly.
Work them. Right.
Yes.
So 10 transactions a year does not a successful real estate person make.
Right.
Right. So even if you're going to get 10 deals a year from your sphere, if you want to be successful, you're going to have to add business that is people you don't know.
Right.
And
so
that's where skills come in.
And the low hanging fruit.
And having a brand and having a presentation. You're the easy. Hey, you should work with my brother Jeff because he's my brother. That's one thing, right? And that goes a long way in a referral situation. But if I say you should work with my brother Jeff because he is almost the mayor of Madeira Beach, he knows everything that's going on in that town. He's going to protect your interests and make sure you get the greatest deal in the world. That's a different referral. Here's my brother, or here's a guy who knows his shit, right? You want to have that. So for the people you don't know, you can't rely on oh, he's my brother, use him. You've got to demonstrate skill. And that's where it bothers me as a broker for this many years. When I see agents go to, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but no-name companies, they've got nothing to offer for the stranger. So you're stuck with dealing with people you know. If you want to convince people you don't know to do business with you, you've got to man up, right? And you've got to demonstrate some skill and some power. And that's a whole nother world. So the people you know are going to generate X. And X is generally not enough to become a superstar.
Right.
If you want to become a superstar, you got to do X well. And then you've got to add Y, right? The people you don't know. And that's where skills come in. So that's part two of what we're talking about today.
Let's go to part two. Let's go to people that you don't know. And let's ease into it, right? Let's take the low hanging fruit because none of us like the rejection, even though there's no rejection. None of us like the tough stuff. So let's go easy. So let's say you live in Kissimmee, Florida, right? I promise you, you go into Kissimmee. I'll just take my phone for just a quick second here. So Kissimmee things to do. There's a Facebook page exploring things to do in Kissimmee, right? And there's 13,000 members in that one group, right? So that I just searched it. Go back through. Now, unignorable engagement is what I'm calling this, right? Unignorable engagement. So what I would do is if I'm working
Unignorable.
unignorable engagement, right?
Okay.
So go onto that page and bring value and just comment. Don't even talk about real estate. Hey, does anybody know where a good florist is? Find the florist, post about it. Does anybody know about a good place to go with a 3-year-old? Why don't you Google search it and post some information and contribute to your tribe that you want to be? Does anybody know about a great Italian restaurant? Well, tell them the one you like and why, right? Everybody's asking for comments. You can sit there, cost you nothing, takes you 10 minutes. You can have unbelievable connections or unbelievable content that you're providing, you're answering things. Now, if I'm in that group and I automatically see that Craig Beggins is answering a whole lot of questions, my curiosity will take over and I'm going to click the little blue link and I'll say, who is this guy? And why is he answering? Why does he know so much about the community? And then if he did his job right, it says Century 21 or real estate and his profile picture or whatever is about him. And then therefore I just realize that there's somebody good in the market, right? Simple, right? This is people that you don't know you're trying to get engagement with. And then they like your comment and you go back and maybe you send them a friend request, right? And then you start to grow your sphere with people that you know locally in that one. So that's how you turn people that you don't know into people that you do know, but you have to bring value. You can't say, hey, I'm here. Anybody want to sell their house, right? Because you look like a creep and you look like a one-sided idiot and you're just there for greed factors. We're not contributing to your tribe. So these are the simple things that we want to do on that. Second thing.
That's totally different than what I thought you were going with. So you're saying from a socialist perspective, I could become aware of strangers,
Become relevant
to strangers on social.
Correct.
And you
valuable.
I'm not social. So
right.
Don't even Google me, don't friend request me, don't do anything because I'm not going to accept it because I'm not going to play the game. That's just not how I work. But I get requests 5-10 times a day. Hey, join my LinkedIn network. I just don't do it. That's just not me. Right. So Mike talked about this the other day. He says, if I need Craig, I call him. Right. And anybody Google Craig Beggins and you'll have 10 pages of Craig Beggins shit and you'll find my contact information. That's how it works. So if you are trying to engage with strangers, there's an effort behind a strategy to contribute to them.
Yep.
I thought we were going to the strangers being for sale by owners.
I'm going there next. I'm just going easing into the easy ones.
There's two parts. So I mean, total strangers, social strangers are one thing, and that's a consistent attitude that you have to comply to, right? And then there's Jeff, and I'll never forget being in your apartment 20 years ago, 30 years ago, where you had a telephone dialing station with 2 telephones and a special headset with 2 things, where you were dialing with 2 hands on 2 different headsets, calling expired listings and for sale by owners, right? With your fingers, right? So that's a whole different animal. But any one of these things we're talking about right now is work. So as people you know, you have to have a strategy to engage with them. If it's people you don't know, like social, there's a strategy to engage with them. And if it's total strangers that you don't know, there's a strategy to engage with them too. And that's where we're going now.
That's right. So there's no excuse for not having business, guys. It's if you don't have business, you can't say you don't know what to do, especially after watching this, right? Because there's no excuse on this one. So regular real estate market, they have the 3 Ds, right? Death, debt, and divorce. That's what drives the real estate markets. That's just what happens. People die, people get divorced, right? And people lose money and have to sell their house, they lose their jobs or whatever it is. Not pleasant, but it's life, and that's what causes it. So how do you find out who has life happening to them? So put down a quick little list here, how to find some new business from people that you don't know. First thing, leverage your title company. I hope you're working with one. If not, they're marketing people, they're begging for your business, they want to provide value to you. So ask them for some stuff, right? Could they have notice? They have ways to find out the notices for filing for divorce, the deaths, the distressed properties, the 90-day lates. Yeah, they do, right? Leverage your title people, see what you can do. Vulcan 7, buy all the expired listings, look them up yourself in the MLS and set up a search and print them. If you don't want to do the effort, then pay for it and go to Vulcan 7 and buy the expireds and FSBOs contacts, and you'll get them emailed to you every day. You have people to phone call, right? Paul Realty, another site you can just go back through and say, hey, I want a list of these streets so I could do my circle prospecting, just listed, just sold calls. I could do some open house prep, and you need numbers, you need phone calls, and email addresses. You can go do it.
But let's interrupt that again.
Yeah.
Because back in the day when normal real estate was normal real estate agents reached out and made contacts.
Yes.
Right. And we've actually stopped teaching that, and we need to start teaching it again.
Yep.
Right. Just listed, just sold, for sale by owners, expired listings, absentee owners. Those are all raw conversion phone calls. But the challenge today is you got to find their phone number. And let's be honest, answer this question for me.
Yeah.
How many times a day does your phone ring with a number that says telemarketer, potential spam, or unknown caller?
Spam likely, yeah.
Spam likely, and they don't even leave a freaking message.
Yep.
It's 5 to 10 times a day, easy for me, right? And that's just a telemarketer making a phone call, right? Who has no value to deliver because not even leaving a message.
They're just trying to get you to extend your car warranty.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And it's a spam because I don't even have, it doesn't matter. But if you're making a call, deliver value. Leave a message. Nobody leaves messages anymore. Hey, Jeff, it's Craig. I'm calling about your house at 123 Any Street. Are you curious about what the value is? Right? That's a much better message than no message at all. And the world has missed it because it's all become auto dialers, which is a whole nother topic we won't get into today. Understand, you provide value. You are offering something. Not everybody's ready for it at this point, but somebody is, and you don't know who that is at this point.
Yeah. So it's about reaching out to the people, and we've got programs. Forewarned, you could go buy. Been verified, you can go buy. Now, yes, you're gonna have to make investments in some of this stuff, because if your broker doesn't provide it, you can provide it on your own. But find out the phone number for the expired, right? Go into MLS and find the unconditional withdrawn that is now a free agent on the market, ready to do something, right? And if you can't find the phone number, there's no excuse. Yes, you can find the phone number and their email address and their cell phone numbers. And then if you really want it, go hunt it, go and turn in front of it, turn on your camera and say, hey, Mr. Beggins, it's Jeff. I'm just in front of your house here on Oak Street, and I was just kind of curious what your plans were. I'd really love to interview for the job. I got some ideas about positioning and pricing. I'd love to chat. Text me a time that we could chat, and we'll go from there. Bye. Right? Clear, free, send video, text message to their cell phone number that I just acquired. Right? If you want to make an impression, do something that's going to go. Text messages get open, basically 100% open rate, and a video guarantees it. Right? So do the simple things to go get there, right? So, and if you're not going to do the hard work, then you have no choice you're going to have to buy business. And it's not bad, it's just not as profitable. But if you not going to do the things we're talking about, then you need to go buy realtor.com leads if you can get some. Realtor Zillow leads if there's still market share in your market area, OpCity, Ojo, all the other lead sources that are around, or your brokers maybe has a reload department. See what you could do to get some of those leads, get some old leads, buy them. And you're going to buy them one way or the other. You're going to pay up front. You're going to pay a big ass referral fee in the back, but that's okay. Because if you're not going to go hunt for it yourself, then you need to go bring them in. Like Craig, talk about when you buy them, there's a lot of work to just buying leads too, right? There's a lot of follow-up. There's a lot of, you got to have benchmarks, because these guys don't just want you to waste their leads. They want you to make sure they close them. So
well, I want to add 2 parts to that. Number one, when you buy leads, you have to follow them up.
Mhm.
I've studied, and we were invited as the position we're in to study a lot of these programs. The average internet lead, it takes 30 follow-up attempts to get one connection. And I will tell you that most agents do not make 30 follow-up attempts, period.
Oh, no.
So if you're buying leads and you're not diligently following up, you're screwed, right? And then if you get to the position of an Opcity or a Zillow Flex, where they're giving you leads, but you only pay for them if you close them, well, now it's a whole nother metric, right? It becomes, it's almost like, it's how teams have become in real estate, right? So a real estate agent becomes successful generating business, and they generate so much business they can't handle it by themselves, so they bring on a team member. And then that team member gets another team member and another team member and another team member, and the team leader becomes generating leads. Well, at some point, just put common sense to this. If I'm going to give you a lead, what am I going to want in return? I'm going to want to see performance of what you're doing. So we are there's 12 Zillow Flex brokers in the Tampa Bay Metro, which is a big market. And we're one. And we are measured on how fast we answer the phone, how many times we answer the calls. Everything is measured. And if we don't perform, we get knocked down, right? So our answer rate right now is 68%. Now we have 6 people on the team in one particular zip code. So it rang 6 people, and we answered it 68% of the time because somebody was brushing the teeth, somebody was on the toilet, whatever it was. But 68%, that's not good enough. We're expected to do an 80% answer rate. Right? So if you're going to play that game, my point is your metrics are going to have to be really good. It's extra, and then your conversion rate. So if Zillow says, hey, we only get paid, we were paying $20,000 a month for Zillow leads, and they didn't care what we did with them because we were paying $20,000 a month.
Right.
But now they're giving us leads and we pay 30% referral fees if we close them. And now they're putting standards on us to make sure that we're performing so they know who to give them to. Right. So there's no free ride. That's my point in this. If you're going to work the people you know, God bless you, work them hard. If you're going to work people you don't know, that's raw sales skills. And if you're going to buy leads, you better be prepared to be held to a standard to perform, or you're going to be cut off. That's the way the industry has turned in the last 3 years.
And one other thing about that, Craig, you get a lead, it's not like, woohoo, I got a buyer. I just bought a buyer. No, you didn't.
No,
You bought a name and a phone number that you have to build trust, build a connection with, build rapport with, and actually deliver so they don't go anywhere else. Because the average buyer comes in contact with 17 agents from the time that they start looking till they actually close on a house. You're one of them, and you paid to be one of them, and there's 16 others that are going to bounce around. So what are you going to do that's going to make it so they're not going to call the other ones, right? And the only way you're going to solidify that lead as a customer, as a client, as a future past customer, is to recognize, are they D personalities? Are they I's? Are you respecting them enough to realize are they S's? Are they C's? Are they visually oriented? Are they auditorily connected? Are they kinesthetic? Are you listening? Do you go into neutral? Are you mirror and matching them a little bit? Are you dealing with their vocabulary a little bit, their energy levels, their tempo, their rate of speech, their hand gestures, their eye contact, all the sales skills that we talk about that are required, because a lead has no value until there's a closing day, right? And they're not going to get to a closing day unless you can establish trust, connection, and credibility, like right up front. So a lot of work, guys. This is kind of a wake-up call that you're in business, right? You're back in business. You're in the business of real estate sales, which requires lead generation, cultivation, lead follow-up, lead follow-up, lead follow-up, lead follow-up, lead follow-up, lead follow-up, presentation, objection handling, closing, right? It is, right? We're back to it. And if you're going to be around, I hope you're around, it's going to be a hell of a run. There's going to be a lot of agents out of the business. They're like, I'm not doing this. I like the easy times in the last few years. I'm not going to go knock on a door. I'm not going to make a phone call. It's not me. I don't need to. My wife works. I don't really need it. We're good. Then get out. Right. But those of us who want to go create one hell of a life for ourselves and our family and our community, go. But you got to go right. And you got to go with the right processes, with the right skill sets into the right market.
Yeah, I want to add to that just for selfish reasons, but if your company doesn't know how to tell you how to do this, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Right? There's a lot of brokerage companies started in the easy days,
Yep.
and these are no longer the easy days.
And team leaders, right?
And team leaders are really just glorified brokers that don't have any responsibility. Which sounds bad, but you need to have expertise and training to make it through the stages that we're going into now, right? Face 6 million home sales in 2022, forecast 4 million home sales in 2023. That's a third drop, right? Everybody got a 1/3 pay cut. And on top of that, commissions are even less because most agents don't hold standards, which is disgusting to me, but it is what it is. So now you got a third of the volume gone, and you've got almost a third of the revenue gone. If you think you're going to do well in 2023 without adapting, you're screwed.
Yep.
It just, the math is not with you unless you do something different, right? And you need a plan, and you need a company behind you with a plan that knows what to do. And that's what we do. And that's why we're holding these podcasts. So
that's right. And if you're anywhere in the state of Florida for now, reach out, because we are too. And we're almost all over the state now. We will be all over the state and soon beyond that. But anyway, we're here regardless of whether you work for us yet or not. And we're excited just to help. We've been doing this for a while. We're happy just to do what we can do to help you guys. So hopefully we brought you some value today and got you thinking, and let us know what we can do to help. And as always, want to thank you for your time and your attention. And we love giving back and seeing what we can do to make you the best you that you can be. So thanks for watching.
that's like a plan.